Now that the 2020 census data has been released, states across the country are beginning to redistrict their congressional maps. And in states where a single party has complete control, they're using it to stack the odds against their opponents. In Kansas, Republicans won a supermajority in the state legislature and have begun planning to eliminate the state's only Democratic congressional district, a plan that the then Kansas State Senate president described back in September. Watch.
A Republican bill that gives us 4 Republican congressmen, that takes out Sharice Davids up in the 3rd. We can do that. I guarantee you, we can draw 4 Republican congressional maps.
All right, joining me now is Congresswoman Sharice Davids from Kansas, the only Democrat representing Kansas on Capitol Hill. Thank you so much, Congresswoman, for your time. Your state is one of the ones that is neither gaining nor losing a seat this year due to population changes, yet you could be drawn out of your district, as we just heard there. Do voters realize what is being done to essentially defeat you before an election is even held?
Well, I'm so glad we're actually having this conversation. And it's a very stark reminder to watch that clip play, because I think that, you can call me old fashioned if you want, but I've always thought that the voters should decide who's representing them and not the other way around. So it's certainly an important topic. It's something that we're actually also seeing across the country. I think that, frankly, it's insulting to the voters in our state that we've got the Kansas Republican Party just coming out and saying, literally, I feel like they're saying, if you can't beat them, cheat them.
So what do you see as your job in all of this? Is there a role for the federal government in preventing overt partisanship in drawing congressional districts? What should be done?
Yeah, absolutely. There's absolutely a role when it comes to the foundation of our democracy. The federal government has a role. And, one of the things that I've been a strong proponent and supporter of since before I even got into Congress is the For the People Act. We have a landmark piece of legislation that has passed out of the United States House 2 times. It didn't even get brought up for a vote in the last session of Congress because Mitch McConnell refused to do that. But now in this session, I am very, very hopeful that we will see a Senate that moves on the For the People Act to make sure that everybody who's eligible is able to register to vote, able to cast their ballot and have their ballot counted, because this is literally cuts to the core of our democratic principles in this country.
Yeah, but realistically speaking for a moment, Congresswoman, do you believe that Senate Democrats, ultimately they have to pass it, will they be able to pass the For the People Act that you're talking about, which would expand the voting rights and change campaign finance laws? Do you think it can be done without breaking the filibuster?
My hope, obviously, I wish that we weren't looking right now at Republicans in Washington, D.C., who have said that they have to decide if they're going to support democracy or not. And right now, it's clear that across the country, people want to clean up the corruption in Washington, make sure we've got better ethics rules, get dark money out of politics, and make sure that all eligible voters are able to vote. The Republicans in the Senate have to listen to their constituents. And if they aren't going to do that, then the next time that we've got elections up, I hope that their constituents will make sure that they're heard.
Speaking of elections, let me just play for you what just 20 days ago, House Republican leader Kevin McCarthy said standing outside the White House. Watch.
I don't think anybody is questioning the legitimacy of the presidential election. I think that is all over with.
But Maggie Haberman of the New York Times is reporting that, quote, Trump has been telling a number of people that he's in contact with that he expects that he will get reinstated by August. What is your reaction to hearing that the former president continues to actively discuss overturning the election?
I'm an MMA fighter. And for anybody who hasn't watched an MMA fight, sometimes people will get knocked out and they don't realize that the fight is over. They stand back up and they start swinging. That's what Donald Trump is doing right now. We have a president. Joe Biden is our president. Kamala Harris is our vice president. We need to continue to move forward, pushing for the policies that people elected us to push for, making sure that they can vote, making sure we get big money out of politics, and making sure that we get infrastructure done.
And before I go, I want to ask you about the book that is over there behind your shoulder. Today is the beginning of Pride Month and publication day for your children's book, Sharice's Big Voice, A Native Kid Becomes a Congresswoman. I know it talks about your barrier-breaking story, but I want you to share a little bit of that with us. What is it that you hope kids will learn from your own personal journey today?
You know, I think the biggest, probably the biggest thing that I hope that folks take away from this is that so many of us know what it feels like to feel invisible or to feel like we aren't being heard, and our journey is hard. Like, everybody has a unique journey. And my hope is that by sharing a little bit of my path, that others can see just how much power and what they can learn from the journey that they're on.
All right, Congresswoman Sharice Davids, thank you so much for your time and your insights. I appreciate you sharing that with us.